All right, in this homework, we're going to look at week 4, day 4, the answers to those questions. So let's take a look at number 1. I'm going to read the question. You guys should have it there. And then we'll talk about A, how to write an equation, B, how to solve for the unknown variable. All right, Amon's baseball card collection consists of 228 cards. He has a pretty extensive baseball collection. This is 4 times, okay, his 228 is 4 times as many as Ming's. So I'm going to do N for Ming's. How many baseball cards are in Ming's collection? So we got to think of that equality of the equal sign. What is equal to what? Well, all of Amon's cards are equal to Ming's times 4, because Ming, the mood of the word problem tells me that Ming has less cards. Okay, so this is equal in value. If I were to take Ming's, multiply it by 4, it would be equal in value to Iman's. Okay, so this, or you could write it like this, you could write it like this. That is your answer to part A, which is the equation. Okay. B is to solve that equation. So 4n equals 228. The 4 is being multiplied to the n, so to undo it, we got to divide on both sides. Because remember, the equal sign says I'm going to be equal to both sides. That's going to give me a 1, leaving me just with n. And 4 goes into this bad boy 57 times. All right. So Ming actually had 57 cards, whereas Amon had just 57. All right, it takes 72 person hours, so 72 hours from different people, to clean an office building at night. A crew of 12 people are going to do it. 12 people clean the building, and each person works the same amount. So they all work the same amount of hours. Okay. How many hours did each person work? So we got to find the equality. I know the total. For the mood of the question really clearly tells me the total is going to be 72. And I know if I take each person and multiply them by their hours, that will tell me how many hours all 12 of the people worked, right? If they worked 5 hours, I can multiply that to 12. All right, so this is my equation. Some of you might have gotten stuck trying to say 72 over 12 equals n. If you do that, think to yourself, well, I know 72 is my total, so let's undo this. If 12 is dividing the 72, let me multiply it to each side, and then you have a true algebraic equation, because these will cancel out and it'll be 12 times n. Okay, so if you're getting stuck, but you can get this part, just rearrange it. Okay, use your opposite operation to help you write your equation. So B is just figuring out the answer. Okay, so if 12 is multiplying the n, I've got to divide it on both sides. So n equals, what is that, 6? Yeah, 6 times. So each person works 6 hours in order to clean this office building. Richard is collecting bottle caps for a school fundraiser. He has collected 335 caps. So that kind of sounds like a total, right? Towards his goal of 500 caps. Maybe the 500 caps is the total. So this is how many he has. This is how many he needs to get. If he collects 15 bottle caps per week, how many weeks will it take for him to get his goal? Okay, so 15 bottle caps each week. So I have to multiply that by the amount of weeks, okay? That is the unknown. Oh, but the total that he still has to get is a little bit tricky. I'll tell you a little bit about it. 335 and 500 isn't what this equals. It's the difference of them. I want 500, but I have 335. It's a little bit of a trick. They're both totals, but not the right total. I have to subtract them to figure out how much I still need. So if I subtract these two, okay, what is that? 965 will give me 400. So 165 is what I still need. Okay, so this is my equation. That's part A. Part B, of course, is to solve it. So I need to divide 15 on both sides because it is multiplying the n. Okay, so 15 will go into that 1, drop a 1, drop a 5, and 1 again, 11 times. It will take him 11 weeks to meet his goal. On week, Ella, each week, 1 week, that should say 1 week. 1 week, Ella worked 36 hours as a prep chef, earning her a weekly total of 210. So she worked 36 hours and she got 210 for her troubles, okay? Which includes $30. So this number includes $30 that she got in tips that she made as a waitress. How much does Ellie make per hour? So she got this $30, right? And the way that we find hours is you work an hour. If I work 1 hour, and let's say I make $7, I multiply those together. If I work 3 hours, I would multiply 3 times the 7 and get 21. So whatever amount she makes, whatever rate she makes, is going to be multiplied to that 36 hours she worked. Plus, no matter what, she's getting her $30 in tips, right? And I can already tell from the mood of the word problem that 210 is my total amount. I just wrote a multi-step equation. You should feel really good about yourself right now. This is not easy. When we're building our multi-step equations, I need to find two things. Something that depends on the variable, which is my 36. My 36 depends on how much I get paid an hour to equal the total, which is the amount of money I make in a week. And then I got to find a consistently flat rate, any of that kind of idea, okay? It's independent of the variable. And in this case, it was 30. 30, no matter what, I was going to get paid $30 for my tips. So the 30 is being added to the end, so I have to subtract it to get it to the other side. And what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So that is going to give me 180 over here. That's going to go to 0. Now the 36 is being multiplied to n, so I am going to divide it. Okay. Oh, this one is pretty rough. I'm going to try 5. Let's try 5. That's 30. 5 times that is 15, that 18. So it's 5. So 36 goes on 180 5 times. So she gets $5 an hour. Probably not the best job, but you know, waitresses don't always make minimum wage depending on your state or area. All right, number 5. 11 less than, oh, that pesky prepositional phrase. The quotient of, this is pulling out all the shots, isn't it? A number, B, and 12 is -5. Well, there are some things off the bat we should notice. The quotient of means parentheses with division, because quotient is the answer to a division problem. And we know what comes next. B and 12 is what goes in that parenthesis. We know the term less than means bring the negative or the -11 to the end of our problem. So I have B divided by 12 minus 11, okay? And the last thing is the word is. Is means equals. So all of this equals a negative 5. Okay? All right, now I can solve this. All right, so if 11 is being subtracted from the b over 12, then I have to add it to both sides in order to move it to the other side. That should give me a positive 6 and a b over 12 still. To get rid of 12, I have to multiply it to both sides because it's being divided and I have to do the opposite. So b is going to equal 672. Number 6, 18 more than the product of 4 and a number z is negative 54. All right, so some things we can point out. Let's start with the beginning this time. More than is prepositional phrase. That means the addition, it goes behind the phrase. So plus 18 is going to go behind what comes next. Okay, so the product of is parentheses with multiplication in the middle. And what goes in is the next thing, which is 4 and a. And the last thing is the word is. Oh, and a number z. Sorry, z should be in here. Z is the variable. Is means to equal, so this whole thing equals 54. All right, so I can rewrite this as 4z plus 18 equals negative 54, just a little bit cleaner. 18 is being added to the z, so I'm going to subtract it on both sides. I get a 72. All right, so how many times can 4 go into a negative 72? I know it's going to be a negative answer, and the answer is going to be 18. All right, and negative 7, I'm just going to read, and question 7, I'm just going to read it because it's short. The difference of twice a number, so the difference of means the next thing is in parentheses, twice a number, okay, and 9. Difference means subtract, so there's the end of my parentheses, and then it says is 17, so is means equals. Okay, I know I don't need the parenthesis because that's the only thing on that side. Okay, the 9 is being subtracted from the end, so I have to add it to both sides. That is 0. 2n equals 26. Divide both sides by 2. N equals 13. Number 8, Bob's Auto Shop charges $375 to replace the timing belt in a car. The belt costs $50 and the labor to install costs $65 per hour. How many hours does it take to install a timing belt? Well, I know that the total is going to be $375. That's what the question tells me. And I know that 50 is no matter what, I gotta pay for that flat fee for the part. So it doesn't have a variable with it. But 65 depends on the amount of hours that the mechanic works. And it's also the question, how many hours? So I know it's the unknown amount. Okay, so 65 depends on n, the amount of hours they work. So this is my equation. To get rid of 50, it's being added to the end, so I'm going to subtract it from both sides. All right, the 6 is being multiplied, so I'm going to divide. And 6 goes into 325, not evenly. It goes into that, what about 54 and 0.1 something, 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 something. You can just round it to 54 hours, though a mechanic will probably charge if you go into the next hour. All right, last question. In 1958, during President Eisenhower's term, construction began on the United States interstate highway system. The original plan was for 42,000 miles of highway to be completed in 16 years. It actually took 37 years to complete. For the last part of the Interstate 105 in Los Angeles was completed in 1993. So it went 1958 to 1993. That's how long it took. Write and solve an equation to show how many miles needed to be completed per year for the 42,000 miles of highway to be built in 16 years. So in order for this to be done in 16 years, okay, I know I need a total of 42,000 miles at the end, okay, and I don't know how many miles I have to do per year, but I know I'm going to have to do a certain amount to be done in 16 years, okay? So the variable is going to depend on the amount of years, and the amount of years is going to depend on that variable. Okay, I got to take the amount of years and multiply it by the amount each year that we build of this $42,000. All right, so the 16 is being multiplied, so I'm going to divide. Okay, so 16 can go into that. 7. Let's do it this way. 3 would be 18. It's 16. Oh, that's why. Okay, so 18, 3, 4, that's too high. So I know I need to go down to 2. And that's going to give me, drop down to 0. 16 can go into that, let's see, about 5 times. Let's try that. 580. 6 times, so add another 2 times. And 5 times, which is 80. So every year, in order to get it done in that amount of time, I would have had to do 2,625 miles per year. All right, so B. Interstate 35 runs north to south from Laredo to Texas to Duluth, Minnesota, covering 1,568 miles. There is 505 miles of I-35 in Texas, 235 miles in Minnesota. Write and solve an equation. Find M, the number of miles of I-35 that is not either state. Okay. That was a mouthful. So I'm doing B. Okay. So the Interstate 35 covering this total of miles. There are 500 miles, okay? So basically, to find the amount of miles, I just need to subtract, okay? There are 500 miles in Texas, 262 miles in Minnesota, okay? So I just need to subtract those two. All right? So go ahead and subtract those two. Either that or I've missed a chunk of this. I don't understand how hard it is. So 108. That's all it's asking me to do. Okay, so go ahead and do those problems, and I'll see you guys in class.